he who saw the deep, the foundation of the land. The clay tablets of Gilgamesh were found beneath the ruins of Nineveh, written in cuneiform over 4,000 years ago. They emerged from Sumer, the cradle of cities, irrigation, and kingship. Here stands Gilgamesh, part god and part man, the ruler of Uruk, builder of its massive walls. The historian sees in him the symbol of the human shift from nature to civilization, when humanity began to conquer the wilderness, organize time, and impose order upon chaos. Enkidu, his wild companion, is the other side of the coin, the untamed human, born of the steppe, running with gazelles, free from laws but also from memory. Their meeting, the struggle between the wild and the civilized, is the meeting of two eras. When they embrace in friendship after battle, it is the birth of society, a pact between instinct and intellect. The historian notes, this was not myth alone, but a psychological history of humanity's own domestication. In the epic, when Enkidu dies, Gilgamesh's heart fractures. The king who ruled men can no longer rule death. From the scientist's view, this is the first recorded human confrontation with biological limitation, the recognition that even power, technology, and divinity cannot reverse entropy. Gilgamesh becomes the first seeker of what modern science still chases, the secret of immortality. His journey to find Utnapishtim, the immortal survivor of the Great Flood, mirrors our scientific odyssey. The ancient version of genetic research, cryonics, or cosmic expansion. Yet every discovery in the story, from the plant of life to the journey through darkness, returns the same result. Life extends, but death remains. The scientist admits Gilgamesh fails not for lack of intellect, but because immortality contradicts the thermodynamic truth, that order decays, and in that decay, meaning emerges. The loss of immortality is what allows evolution, renewal, and awareness. In scientific terms, death is not a flaw but a feature. Gilgamesh's grief is not only personal, it is metaphysical. The philosopher sees in him the first being to know that he will die. Animals fear pain, but Gilgamesh fears nothingness. That awareness, the knowledge of finitude, is the spark of philosophy. When he journeys to the edge of the world, through the tunnel of the sun, across the waters of death, he is not seeking a potion, but understanding. He asks, if the gods are eternal, and men are clay, why do men build? Why love? Why dream? His answer comes not from Utnapishtim's words, but from the failure to keep the flower of youth, stolen by a serpent as he bathes. In that theft, the philosopher recognizes a cosmic symmetry. Life renews itself through loss. The serpent's shedding skin is not mockery but symbol. Immortality belongs to the cycle, not the individual. Gilgamesh returns to Uruk not as a conqueror, but as a thinker. He sees his walls, not his body, as his true immortality. Culture replaces flesh. Creation replaces eternity. At the end, Gilgamesh inscribes his story on stone tablets. This act is history's genesis. The historian notes that this is how civilization survives, not through bloodlines but through language, architecture, and art. The philosopher adds, in writing, man created a second self, and yakurtin ma ba, and in egri en dakban draken bachma, in dak ba na dal fatma that endures beyond death. This, not the god's nectar, is immortality achieved. Thus, the Epic of Gilgamesh is not merely the first story ever written, it is humanity's first philosophy of meaning. It whispers that the quest for eternal life was never meant to succeed, because it was never the true quest. The goal was to awaken, to discover that mortality itself is the mirror in which consciousness beholds its reflection. Today, physicists speak of entropy, cosmologists of dark energy, biologists of programmed decay, all echo what Gilgamesh learned beside the corpse of Enkidu, that energy disperses so life may evolve, that endings make space for beginnings. The mystic within the scientist sees it clearly. Is the universe's method of ensuring creativity. Without mortality, nothing would move. Without loss, nothing would change. Gilgamesh's lament then was not failure but revelation. Man's role is not to conquer time, but to fill it with meaning. Across 4 millennia, the clay tablets still whisper, look at the walls of Uruk. Is this not your story too? Each of us is Gilgamesh, half divine in our imagination, half mortal in our cells. Each of us builds cities, writes code, births art, all to leave a trace against oblivion. The epic teaches that the gods did not curse us with death, they gifted us the capacity to create, to turn transience into testimony. And when the modern mind, with all its science and skepticism, stares again at those ancient words, it finds not superstition but the first mirror of the human condition. In that reflection, Gilgamesh still walks, searching, grieving, understanding, carrying in his heart the truth that all wisdom begins with love, and all meaning ends with acceptance. Thus the Epic of Gilgamesh is not ancient, it is eternal. It is the map of what it means to be human, to build, to lose, to search, and finally to see. He saw the deep and learned of all things, and he returned to tell them.